energy area. He has delivered more than 100 expert talks in national and international faculty development programs via contact mode and ICT based at NITTR Chandigarh and out of station. He has trained more than 20,000 students. Now we cordially invite Mr. Ajay Godora to take over the session. Sir, please, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. So very good afternoon to all the participants over here. So in this session, we are going to discuss about IoT, their application, and how we can use IoT in a different domain with the learning exposure. And you are going to learn over here that from the beginning that how you can implement IoT for condition monitoring of a machine, and how you can understand that IoT infrastructure, and by doing it. So let's see it how you can do it. So first of all, we are going to give an overview over here about IoT, and after that we are going to share with you practical exposure that you are going to do with your own also. So let's get started. So when we talk about IoT, so before that I'm just giving you a few important parameter over here. So we are going to discuss about three major industrial revolutions that happened in the past. So these are major three industrial revolution. The first one is hydropower and fossil fuel, and the second one is that is electrical energy and mass production, and third one is over here that you can see telecommunication and PLC, that is programmable logic controller over here that you can see. So these are three major industrial revolutions that happened in the past. Now we are living in the era of fourth industrial revolution, that is industry 4.0. So why we are going to discuss over here that industry 4.0, reason behind that industry 4.0 over there, IoT is one of the component of industry 4.0. So what exactly is industry 4.0? So industry 4.0 means making factories smart, digital and flexible. So how we can make it? There are three key major principles of that industry 4.0 or factory 4.0. We can call it a smart factory also. So the first one is the factory become digital and flexible, and after that a simulation tool and powerful data processing, and third one is an efficient factory regarding resources and regarding manpower and as well as another factory resources. So when we talk about industry 4.0, these are major component of industry 4.0 that you can see it, like digital technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, sensor, big data, 3D printing, algorithm, data analytics, and IoT and cloud computing. So IoT is one of the major stakeholder over here in this industry 4.0. So when we talk about industry 4.0, so very important point over here, that very important component over here, that is IoT. So that is, these are buzzword of today's scenario, today industrial revolutions. So when we talk about industry 4.0, we have to talk about industry 4.0, we have to talk about internet of things, we have to talk about sensors, robotics and all these things. So let's get started about IoT. So what exactly IoT it is? So when we talk about IoT, just visualize over here. So when we talk about smart factory, you can see over here in upcoming 5 years, everything will be smart, digital and flexible like this, that you can see it over here. And when we talk about when we are going to take an example of your own, as you are going to wake up from your bed, you are going to get dressed with the help of robot in upcoming 5 year. I'm just talking about 5 year or 10 year, so that you can forecast it. So everything is going to become smart and digital. So as you're going to wear your suit, your car will come automatically from your parking, because that is also driverless and automatic, and everything is connected with your suits and all that. And also your health monitoring is being also get done automatically via cloud, and your doctor will able to analyze your health with a particular time interval. So no need to go to doctor. So at your home, every prescription you will get at your home. So when we talk about Internet of Things, so we have to understand it a little bit about their detailed components, that what exactly is Internet of Things. Then after that we have to learn it, and we have to learn all the component of Internet of Things. So let's see over here. So when we talk about like sensors, so there are three major components. First one is sensor and actuator, and after that connectivity, And then third one is over here, people and process. So when we talk about sensor and actuator, so these are very much important parameter over here. So you can see over here. So in a sensor, so there are different type of sensor we are using for different parameters. Like if you are going to use vision sensor for detection of any object, so that you can do it. So if you want to use acceleration and tilt sensor, with the help of that you can detect velocity, you can detect motion, speed. And when we talk about magnetic sensor, you can detect direction also. And after that, leak sensor, level sensor, force sensor, torque sensor, and after that you will be able to find flow sensor, some chemical sensor also, and some sound and vibration sensor, humidity and moisture sensor. So every sensor has their own application. When we talk about chemical and gas sensor, with the help of that you can detect leakage of gas, and you can send data on the cloud, and you can perform any kind of application over there, and you can avoid any kind of a big tragedy. So like recently one incident happened in Visakhapatnam. So over there was an incident of gas leakage over there, and more than 14 casualty took place over there. So these kind of events, this kind of incident can be avoided using smart devices, using Internet of Things, sensors, and all that. Then after that, you can use humidity, moisture, pressure, proximity, all these things. You can use it. So now when we talk about connectivity, so first one part is that we have to acquire sensor data to the microcontroller for performing IoT applications. So when we are going to acquire sensor data, so that we can acquire it with wired and as well as wireless also. So what technology we have to use over there for wireless communications? When we talk about wired, so wire, simple wire, we can use it for acquiring sensor data. But for acquiring sensor data wirelessly, we have to use some mode of communications. That first one we are going to use over here, that is Bluetooth. That is short range. We can use it for up to 10 meter for acquiring sensor data from the sensor to the microcontroller. And after acquiring the data from microcontroller, we have to send data to the cloud. So that also over there we have to use some mode, like we can use Ethernet also over there, and we can use Wi-Fi also over there. So how we can do it? So over there are different mode of acquiring data from the sensor. Like you can use RFID, you can use antenna, you can use NFC. So these are latest technology that is being used. Like you can take an example of RFID. So as you are going to in your toll plaza, so as you are going to pass the toll plaza, with the help of that RFID, your charges will cut automatically. So you are going to pay your toll directly. So that is being done using that sensor, that RFID sensor. Then you can use that NFC. NFC is also similar to that. So you are using in a metro that card, that credit card size card that you are using it. That is NFC card, and with the help of that you can send data. Similar way, there is one more technology, that is LoRaWAN. That is wireless technology. That is long distance technology. So that NFC, that RFID, that is short range technology. So when we talk about long range communications, we can use that Zigbee and LoRaWAN. That is LoRaWAN stand for long range wide area network. So that we can use it. And similar way, Zigbee is also working based on radio frequency. But with the help of that LoRaWAN and Zigbee, we can send data and we can receive data up to 10 kilometer without any internet, without any mobile network, without any wire, using radio frequency. And we can use Bluetooth also for up to 10 meter that we can use it. Then after that we can use Wi-Fi. So with the help of Wi-Fi, you can use in two mode. One mode is in a local network without internet, you can acquire and you can send data up to 100 meter. But if you are going to use internet, you can send data in a long distance, or you can send data on a cloud using internet. Then after that there are few more technology that we are using, like GPS, GPRS, GSM, CDMA, LTE, and now we are entering in a 5G also. So with the help of that, data communication will become so much easy and so much fast. So now after that, third step is that people and process. First step is that we have to acquire data. So we can acquire data with wire and wireless. After acquiring data, we have to send that data to the cloud. So we have acquired data in the microcontroller, and after that we are going to send that data to the cloud. For that we need also the one wireless communication or wired communications technology. And after sending data on a cloud, we have to perform some analytics. Like if you want to do any kind of control and automation, that also you can do on a cloud. So over there you have to build a user dashboard and you have to control all the parameters. So take an example of IoT of a very simple example, Ola and Uber. So these cab facilities providing a platform to the customer and as well as user. So when we talk about a driver is having an app installed in their mobile phone. So mobile phone is the device. And when we talk about that customer, so customer is also having a mobile, and over there internet is required. So both having application, and when a customer is going to book any ride, all the data is going on the cloud on their server of Ola and Uber. And after that, what is happening over there, that process is being carried out. Over there, they are going to implement some analytic over there. So what kind of algo they are going to put over there? So simple two algo I'm just going to tell you. That first one is that, so they are finding the nearest driver to you. First step. Second step is that they are going to verify that the driver that is nearest to you having highest rating. So by considering two parameters, they are going to select the driver, and they are going to share your detail with the driver, and driver detail is being get shared with you, and you will able to track your driver position also, location also, and their traveling speed, and how much time it will take to come. So everything is being carried out on the process over here in the cloud. That is cloud part. So like if you want to do remote monitoring, that also you can do it. Like supply chain management, that also you can do it over there. And location tracking, financial, so many more things you can perform on the cloud. So now the interaction between these sensor, connectivities, people and process, these entities are creating a new type of smart application and services. So what are the application of the IoT? That quickly over here you can see it, like smart thermostat, connected cars, activity trackers, smart outlet over here that you can see. So these are like, when we take an example of this Nest. So in a Nest over here you can see it, you can control your home temperature using this mobile phone, and you can control your AC temperature or at your home, and you will able to control it easily using IoT. Then after that, connected car. So this one is a car to go application that is in another country, not in India. So over there, that is rented car is being connected with the internet, and every activity is being get monitored over there. So how much distance you are going to travel, that charges will get stuck automatically to your phone. Then these are activity tracker, like might be you have heard about health band. With the help of that, you can monitor your energy, how much calories you have burned in the morning, how much you have traveled in a day, how much good sleep you have taken. So everything is being get monitored, like that MI band and similar kind of band. That is a simple band that you can see. Now you can see over here, like this one is another one more device that is controlling appliance using this. I mean, you can control your home appliance using this socket. So as you're going to plug any socket, you can control via mobile phone. That is very important parameter over here that you can see. Now similar way, there is one parking sensor. You can use this one also for doing for detecting your parking. So when you are going to move in a high population area or a high population city, over there it's a very common problem to identify that parking spot. So it's very tough to find that available parking slot. So with the help of that mobile app, you can easily find it over there in a very simple way. Now there are a few more diverse applications like home, consumer, transport, mobilities, health and body, building, cities, and you will able to see all the detailed application over here. So there are a few more compound applications like transportation plus smart cities that you can see it. Like if there is any vehicles you are traveling it, if any fault occur in between you are traveling, so you can call mechanic over there and mechanic will come automatically to your locations with your car. So that can also be possible. So everything is connected with each other. So there are a few more smart healthcare and smart home. Both are integrated applications. Smart building and mobility is over here. And a few more application. I'm just quickly overviewing over here. Like this one is a digital farm over here. So you can track your cattle health over there. You can track their temperature and you can track their production capability also. That also you can do it easily. So how large is the IoT market? So when we talk about IoT market in 2014, that was nearly 2 billion market. Now, so that growing, and in 2020 it is 8 billion market of that IoT that you can see. So the business impact you can see it. There is exponential growth in IoT that you can see it over here. So quickly you can see over here. So I'm just giving you a quick overview over here. So I'm skipping these slides so that I can show you practical part also. So in 2020 there is opportunity of 1 trillion. So more than 1 trillion market is there for IoT, that you can visualize that in our country economy that is 3 trillion. And now you can see the only IoT market in a global that is 1 trillion, more than 1 trillion that you can see. So there are a few more IoT application over here like manufacturing, smart city, home automation, logistic, agriculture, environment, energy, smart building, and you can see that the value chain of that IoT over here. You can see it when we talk about industrial automations. So this one is a plant of any car manufacturing. Over there, every part is being connected with the internet. So this part is manufacturing and connected with the internet. So this part is manufacturing and connected with the internet, so that that supply chain will should not harm due to any kind of casualty over there, and it will work fine. And that supply chain is connected with the after sale service also. So when you are going to book order and when you are going to sell it, so everything is connected with the internet, and your plant is also connected. Like if you are going to book your car and you are going to get your specific color of red color car, so that color you can suggest over there to the salesperson, and salesperson will directly enter in their computer, and the car will get painted according to your color choice. So that can also customization can be done in these smart factory system. So now you can see when we talk about industrial robotics and IoT, there is huge application of IoT over here that you can see over here, food processing industry. And when we talk about civil and construction over here, you can see it. And when we talk about cutting applications, so now after that you can see it over here in assembling and welding and all that you can see it in a paint shop also. So you can see this one is a real-time example of a IoT and Industry 4.0. Over here you can see it that this one is a manufacturing plant of a particular car. So over here you can see it, one product is coming out in every 1 minute that you can see it. This one is the cycle time over here. So in 1 minute, one product is coming out that you can see. So product cycle is 2, 3. So over here you can see it that fully automation is there and only limited manpower is working. So approximate 5 to 7 manpower you will find over here, and everything is fully automatic. All the work is being carried out with the help of robot. So important point is over here that how this plant is working. So all the machines are connected with the internet. You can see it. This one is also connected with the internet. This robot is connected, and everything is being controlled by a control room, and all the data is going on the cloud. If there is any kind of fault that is going to occur over here, that can be diagnosed before going to occur. So how that can be possible? For that condition monitoring of a machine is being carried out, means that health of that robot is being get monitored on a cloud. If there is any kind of weakness in their health, or any kind of a fault is going to occur in upcoming time, that can be also forecasted easily using the data and data analysis and AI. And after that, that robot is being get repaired during that idle time, and that production will be continued, so there will be no harm in a production. So that kind of technology is right now is running, and that kind of production capability is also going on. So how we can survive in that kind of environment, how student can survive? So student has to inculcate new skill set that is required as per industry requirement, because industry has to opt that automations, and they have to implement that IoT, because for their survival it's very important. So there are a few more robot over here that you can see it, AI based robot, and IoT is being integrated over here for controlling it. So when we talk about COVID-19 epidemic, in this situation, a lot of robot is required to serve COVID-19 patients, to monitor their health, to take care about them. So that robot is so much helpful on that application. Now you can see it. Now we are entering in a 5G. It means that more devices is going to get connected in coming years, when we are going to implement 5G in India. That you can see that IoT scope will become more wider, and there are some disadvantages also. So over here you can see it, that when we are going to make any machine, over there human interference is there, so we have to work on the precision. Precision is very much important. So there are few more application over here for home application robot. So I mean every home task is being done by a robot, that you can see it. So we have to avoid it. So sometimes we are working and we are going to use faulty component, so we have to work on a precision, and we can make like this for on applications, that is for entertainment purpose only. So yes, sometime when we are lack of knowledge, so how boss is behaving like this, so that you can see it. So knowledge is very much important. So as a student going in industry, but they don't know about industry 4.0, they don't know about IoT, then they are going to face that kind of challenge, because somehow they will get job, but after that surviving in that job, it is very tough without knowledge. So when we talk about basic of component, that is also very much important for a IoT. So like as in capacitor, you can see it. When we are going to connect capacitor in a reverse polarity, that you can see it, so capacitor will get blasted. So by default, by if you don't know that which one is positive and which one is negative, and you are going to connect this capacitor in an aeroplane, and you have connected it in a reverse polarity, so what can be happen over there? So your aeroplane get crashed. So just visualize it, that an engineer is having a more responsibility. So over here you can see it. So any big casualty can took place over there if we are going to do a very small teeny mistake over there. So precision is very much important. So like when we talk about basic of component, you can find resistance like this. So resistance is because basic of electronics is highly required for IoT applications. So that I'm going to discuss over here. Like when we are going to use sensor, we are going to acquire sensor data. For a sensor, we need electronics. So these are basic Ohm's law that you can see it. That resistance is trying to avoid that flow of this current, and voltage is trying to pull that flow of current, that you can see it. So you can use resistance also. These are color coding, and this one is a LED. So in a LED there is one positive and one negative over here, that you can see it in a very simple way. So the bigger one is positive and smaller one is negative, and you can see from the side also that the cutted part over here, this one is cutted part in your particular circle. So this part is over here, that is negative. Over here this one is negative, that is cathode, and this one is anode opposite side. From inner side also you can see it that bigger flag is positive and bigger flag is negative over here and smaller flag is positive. So when we talk about the industry process, over here you can see it. This one is a process. So this process is manual. So there is lot of chance of casualty over there. So how we can make it automatic and what are the advantage of it? So over here you can see it. So in this process, just take an example of boiler. This one is a boiler over here and you are controlling that boiler temperature with manually. So what can happen over there if this man will get for 2 minutes out from over here and boiler temperature will get increased. So what can happen that boiler will get bursted. So recently one incident happened in Uttar Pradesh over here in India, and over there in an NTPC power plant one boiler got bursted and there were many casualty took place over there. So due to carelessness of particular operator over there, so that can be avoided using IoT. So we can make this system fully automatic, and if due to some uneven region that boiler pressure is going to increase that threshold limit or the temperature is going to increase that threshold limit, you will get notification on your mobile phone and you will able to take particular action over there so that any kind of casualty can be avoided. Like yes, when boss is absent, worker is doing like this. That can be happen over here also, that worker can take 2 minute sleep lap over here, and that can be dangerous for many people. Yes. So now when boss is available, worker is doing like this. So that you can see it, they are doing they are looking like that, they are doing all the company job over here. So we can use different microcontroller and microprocessor for acquiring data from the sensor, and after that we can send the data to the cloud. Let's see over here. So these are two open source microcontroller or microprocessor. We can use it for acquiring data. So this one is a Raspberry Pi over here, and this one is a Arduino Uno. So when we talk about Arduino Uno, first we are going to discuss about Arduino Uno, and we are going to perform practical using Arduino Uno, and after that we are going to use Raspberry Pi also, and we are going to perform some IoT application using Raspberry Pi also. So let's see it how you can use that Arduino. So this one is Arduino Uno. When we talk about Arduino Uno, so these are pin detail over here, like digital pins, analog pins over here, and this one is a microcontroller. So when we talk about Arduino Uno is a development board. So that is microcontroller based development board. So what you can do over here with the help of this, you can acquire your sensor data, and after that you can connect it with the internet and you can send data to the cloud. So how you can use it for different application, how you can learn it, that we are going to discuss over here. So these are digital pin 0 to 13. These are analog pin 0 to A5, A0 to A5, and these are power port over here. So this one is a external power socket, and this one is a USB cable connector. You can connect USB over here easily, and you can start it. So now you can see it. This one is a tool that we are going to use it for learning that Arduino sensor interface. So name of the tool is tinkercad.com. So first what we have to do it, we have to click on the tinkercad.com and we have to open it. That is online tool. So no need to download it, no need to install it, only directly you can use it in online way. Let's see it, how you can use it. So I'm going to open it, the tinkercad.com. I'm going to click it. So as we are going to open it, that you can see it over here, how it is working. So as you are going to open it, will get open like this. So I'm going to do sign out first. I will show from the beginning that how you can use it. So first of all, you have to open that tinkercad.com. On a Google, you can search it, tinkercad.com, tinkercad.com. As you are going to search it, your web will get open. This website will get open, that is Tinkercad. After that you have to click on join now. I'm going to click on join now, and over there you will find three options. So you have to click on last one, create a personal account. So that I'm going to create it. So after that there is option of sign in with Google. I'm going to click it, sign in with Google. So as you are going to open your account, your dashboard will get open over here in a very simple way that you can see it. So you have to select your account, and after that you will be able to open dashboard. So this one is your dashboard. So your dashboard will get open over here, and you can see it in a very simple way that how your dashboard is looking like. So first what we have to do is we have to click on in this dashboard. You have to click on circuit. So in a circuit you have to click on create new circuit. So sorry, over here what you can do, you can, this one is workspace over here, you can make any circuit and you can do any circuit simulation easily. You can program it, whatever you want to do it, you can do it. So I'm going to take this LED, these are component over here. So I'm going to take one LED, drag and drop, just simply drag and drop. I'm going to drag and drop over here that you can see it in a very simple way. So after that what we have to do it, we can rotate this component also. This one is a tool for rotating it. You can rotate it, you can delete it, you can undo it, you can redo it. So whatever you want to do, that you can do it from these tools. This one is for coding, this one is for start simulation. So I'm going to, you can do fit to screen using this. I'm going to rotate it, select it, and you can rotate it. Okay, so now this one is my LED. So over here I'm going to connect one battery also. You can take this battery, drag and drop, fit to screen. Now you can see it, this one is battery, this one is LED. So how you can connect your LED and battery over here? I'm going to connect this anode. Anode is positive and cathode is negative. So negative side I'm going to connect with the negative, and positive side I'm going to connect with the positive. Now I'm going to start simulation that you can see. So now my LED get damaged over here. So why my LED get damaged over here? You can respond in the chat box if you are able to do it. Yes, in the chat box you can respond that why my LED get damaged over here. So that you can do it if you are able to do it. So yes, so now you can see it. Let me know, let me tell you over here why my LED get damaged. So when we talk about LED, that LED voltage requirement is 2 volt and current requirement is only 20 milliampere. But over here we are providing 9 volt voltage supply and current is flowing through the LED, that you can see in the description, that 915 milliampere. While absolute maximum is required, that is 20 milliampere. So what we can do over here, we can use resistance. So I'm going to connect one resistance over here. So I have connected one resistance over here in a very simple way that you can see it. And after connecting that resistance, we have to set that value. So how much value of resistance you can set, so that you can calculate also using Ohm's law. So I'm going to use it directly, that 350, that is exact value using calculation, that is V is equal to IR. And now I'm going to start simulation. Now my LED is working fine. But as I'm going to reduce that value little bit less than 350, it is showing warning also again over here. Warning mean it is showing that current through the LED is 22.9 milliampere, while maximum recommended is 20 milliampere. So we have to slightly increase that resistance. So that is 50 ohm. So that you can visualize each and everything over here in this simple way. So now you can stop simulation also. You can delete this component also. You can delete this one also. You can do coding also over here. So when we talk about microcontroller, that also you can use it. You can use sensor also over here. So when we talk about different sensor, let's see how it is working. This one is my photoresistor, or we can call it LDR sensor. So I'm going to connect one motor over here with this LDR. So how LDR is working, that you can see it. LDR is working as a variable resistor. So one light is falling on this sensor, so resistance is get decreased. During full darkness, resistance will be high. So as we are going to increase light brightness, resistance will slowly get reduced. So let's see it how you can use it. I'm going to use one battery. You can rotate your battery also. I'm going to rotate it. So I have connected my battery over here. Now you can see it. So I'm going to start simulation. So my motor is working with very less RPM. So now I'm going to click on this sensor and I'm going to increase that brightness so that you can see it. As I'm going to increase brightness, my you can see it over here. What is happening? RPM is increasing. So as I'm just doing it full brightness, you can see RPM over here. That is 1973 RPM. That you can see it over here. So that you can do it over here in a very simple way. Now I'm going to talk about programming. So how you can do programming over there, and you can save it also. Like I'm going to save it with the name of LDR. You can save it. You can click over here. Your name will get renamed. So you have to double click over here. Then after that you will able to edit it. So I'm going to make it in a capital LDR. So it will get updated, and you can go to this one is a home. So as you're going to click on this, you will go to your home dashboard. These are your previous project. Whatever project you have saved it is visible over here, that you can see it. Now you can create a new project, and you can make coding also over here. So how you can do coding for sensor interfacing, that we are going to do it. So let's see about microcontroller. So I'm going to take this Arduino Uno over here. Take it, drag it, and drop it. So in this microcontroller, I'm going to connect one LED over here. Drag this LED, and one terminal of that LED we are going to connect to the ground. This one is negative, cathode, ground, and positive I'm going to connect with any digital pin you can use it. So I'm going to use 13 number pin, and then you can start simulation. So your LED is blinking, but we have not written any code over here, but by default it is working. So you can click on that code. You will able to see there is one code, that is LED high, LED build in, LED high, wait for 1 second. Then after that LED build in, LED low, wait for 1 second. So that you can see it, that code is working over here. That is by default code, because there is one LED, that is L, that is connected on the 13 number pin. That LED is known as build in LED. So that is the example over here, this one. So I'm going to delete this one. So I can write it for 13 number pin also. So how you can write your code in a very simple way, that you can see it. So I'm going to click on that output, take this second block, and after that you have to click on that pin number. Pin number is 13. You can go to control. In a control you will find delay. Then again you can go to output, and in output you will be able to find that again. So in output I'm going over here. You can take the second block, 13 number pin. You can make it low. So again go to control, wait. So this one is your code. I mean LED will be high for 1 second and LED will be low for 1 second, and this one will repeat for infinite time. You can start simulation over here. So you can see LED, same LED is working with the same frequency. You can change that on off time. So I'm going to make it 0.3. So as I'm going to reduce that on off time, my LED will start blinking fast. That you can see it over here. So LED is blinking with a fast speed over here, that you can see it. Now, so this one is very simple graphical coding. We are doing it right now. So when we are going to do embedded C coding, so how you can generate your embedded C code? If you don't know embedded C coding, no need to worry about it. You can generate your code easily. And if you want to change that pin number, that also you can change it. So I'm going to make it 12. Make it 12, and you can take it on 12. Now you can start simulation. So it is working on a 12 number also. So that you can make it, that is your choice, that on which pin you want to display it and what value you want to write over there. So how you can generate your embedded C code? I'm going to click over here in the code. After stopping simulation, you can click on block plus text over here. Then block plus text, your embedded C code is over here. That is automatic generated. So how it is automatic generated, that you can see it. I'm going to delete it over here. You can see that block is deleted one by one. Yes, that you can see. Now this one is minimal program. Minimal programming, that is required for a Arduino programming. So now again I'm going to take all these blocks. Take this one. You can see this block come automatically. This one is come automatically. You can select pin number 12, high, then go to control, delay. So this block come automatically. Then you can duplicate it also, and you can make it low. So 12 number pin high for 1 second and low for 1 second, that you can see. So delay over here, that is delay mean wait. 1 second means that is in millisecond over here in the embedded C programming in a Arduino programming. So that is simple code that is generated automatically. So similar way you can interface many sensor over here, and you can understand their code also, and you can generate their code, and you can copy that code, and you can upload that code in a hardware also. That also you can do it. So that code will work in the Arduino hardware also, and it will work fine over there. So how you can learn that graphical coding if you don't know about these operators, math, and all the functions, that also you can learn. So there is one more tool that I'm going to tell you to learn that graphical programming, for that you can practice it. So that is Scratch. So I'm going to open over here Scratch. So this one is a tool that you can open it. Scratch programming. So over here you can see it. Let it get open. Yes, this one got opened over here. So in this, what you can do, you can learn that graphical coding in a very simple way. This one is your cat, and you can move it, whatever you want to do it with your cat, that you can do it easily over here. So I'm going to take it over here, move it. I mean, you want to move this 10 step, then you want to move it 15 step, and then you want to again move some degree or some distance, that also you can do it. So again I'm going to move it 10 step, then again I want to move it 15 step, and then I want some sound. So go to sound, and over there you can start sound some meow meow sound, because your cat will get tired after traveling a lot, and you will play some sound over there, and you can repeat this step for multiple times. So how many times you want to repeat it, go to control, and over there find repeat. So in a control you will find all the conditions, like if condition, else conditions, all the condition you will find in a control. So I'm going to take it repeat for 10 times. Yes. So this one is your code, and in a look you will find few more things like say hello, something like this if you want to say hello, and in a control you will find delay also. So I'm going to say 1 second, wait over there. So this one is your code. So if you want to run this event, you have to go to event and take this flag. So when you are going to press this flag, then only this event will be run. So this one is my cat. So I'm going to run this. So let's see it how it is working. You can press this flag, or you can click over here. So this one is working. So I think you are able to hear that meow sound. So that sound is being produced by this cat, and this one is traveling like this. So as you're going to increase this 10 step to more, or you are going to change that angle, then it will cover more distance. So I'm going to take it 20 step, 20, and this one angle is also I'm going to make it 20, 20. So let's start it. So it will cover up one loop with the step by step, or 10 step. It's going to take it, and it's going to control complete one circle like this, that you can see it. So many things you can make it using this. You can change that costume also, and you can change that cat also. So many option is there for editing it, like costume. So you can change that costume, you can replace it, you can add customized picture also over here, you can fill color also, and any modification, any creativity you want to do it, that you can do it. So that small cat, running cat also you can use it. So that also you can use it. So some sound, if you want to record some sound, that also you can do it. So you can record your sound in replacement of that meow. Any specific sound also you can use it. So that can also be done over here. So that is very interesting tool for learning that graphical coding. So in a coding over here, you will find all the menus. So there are many more menus, only 6 menus we are using in the Tinkercad. So over here in a motion, you will find all the movement. In a look, you will find say hello, something like that. In a sound, you will find many sound options. And in events, you will find when we have to start it, like pressing keyboard, pressing mouse, pressing flag, then control. In a control you will find all the conditions, like forever loop, if conditions, if and else condition, while, wait until, repeat until, stop, when I start alone, create a clone. So these are condition over there in a control. In a sensing you will find all the sensor, like touch, color sensor. Then in operators, in operator you will find all the mathematical operator, like less than equal to, greater than equal to. So all the operator you will find over there easily, and you will find few more math function also over here in this operator, like mode, absolute, these things also you will find over there. Then in a variable, you will able to create a variable over here in a very simple way, and you can set up your variable values, and you can use your variable further also for programming. So you can make your customized block also over here, but over there you will not able to make it in a Tinkercad, so that you can use it over here. So that graphical programming you can make it over here in a very simple way, and you can generate your embedded C code, and your code you can upload it on a hardware in a very simple way. Now I'm going to talk about few sensor interfacing, that how you can interface different sensor over here. So let's see it how you can interface it. So we are going in Arduino. Over there we are going to talk about a few sensors like analog read or analog write. You can use digital read or digital write. So I'm going to read digital sensor. So first of all, I'm going to do without sensor. So let me delete it. I mean, without microcontroller we are going to do it, and after that we are going to use some sensor over there. So let's see it how we can use it. So first of all, I'm going to use over here, that is PIR sensor. So PIR sensor, I'm going to use it over here. So this one is PIR sensor. So in this PIR sensor, you can see there is 3-pin power, ground, and signal. So how you can connect this sensor and how you can get output. So I'm going to use it first of all without any microcontroller, and after that I'm going to use microcontroller over here. So this sensor will give digital output signal. So let's see how it can give digital signal. So I'm just going to connect one battery over here. So it need 5-volt battery or less than 5-volt battery. So I'm going to take 5-volt power supply. So in a power you will find many more components. So over here you can see it power, and in a power you can find power supply. You can find potato batteries also, lemon batteries also. So you can check it at your home also by making your own battery using potatoes and lemons, and how much output current is coming from them. That also you can check it over here. So I'm going to take this variable power supply, and in this power supply I'm going to connect that ground with ground. You can change that color also. I'm going to make it black. This one is power. Power we have to connect with 5-volt wire. That is power. Right. This one is output. So output, what I'm going to do, that output I'm going to connect. That output I'm going to connect with my multimeter or my device. So I'm going to use any motor over here for running that motor. Let's see how you can run any motor. So let's take motor over here. So this one is my motor over here. I'm going to take it and I'm going to connect it. So one terminal I'm going to connect over here. Second terminal I'm going to connect with the ground. So let's see it how it is working. So I'm going to do it. So the voltage we are going to provide, that is 5-volt over here. So 5-volt we are going to provide it, and after that we are going to start simulations. So start simulation over here. So now my sensor is working, power we are supplying. I'm going to click over here and I'm going to see that my object is over here. So how PIR sensor is working, that is very much important. So when we talk about PIR sensor, The PIR sensor is working based on human being, mean it will detect human being, their presence and their motions through object it is detecting. So when we are going to interface that PIR sensor, we required that human being should be in a motion over there. So let's take this example. So this one is working. As any person is coming in front of the sensor, this one is working, and you can see that motor also. So there, let me zoom it. Yes, motor is running with particular RPM that you can see it. So my motor is working and with some RPM. So as I stopped over here, motor will get stopped. So there should be, this one is an object, and the sensor is required motion over there that you can see. So now over here, this one is working fine. So madam, some disturbance is coming. I think someone mic is not muted. So kindly check it out. Okay, so that we can do it over here. So dear participant, kindly mute your mic. I think some participant has not muted their mic. So that's creating problem over here. Okay, so over here I'm coming back to that circuit that you can see it. That circuit is working according to our motion. Any person is coming in front of that sensor, it is working, and your motor is running. So that is manually. That manually we are using it without that any output. I mean without any microcontroller we are using it. So now I'm going to use a microcontroller, because if I want some delay, for the delay I need a microcontroller. Let's see how we can use it. So I'm going to use microcontroller now. So let me take a microcontroller and PIR sensor. So this one is my Arduino over here. So I'm going to make connection with my Arduino over here with PIR sensor. So this one is signal. So signal we have to connect with the digital pin, because the sensor is giving digital signal. So I'm going to connect with digital pin. And that power you can connect with a power 5 volts. Ground you can connect with a ground. So I connected it over here, and now what we have to do it, we have to use it. So we have to write code for this. So we have connected it in a 5 number pin. So we have to go to code. Over there we have to delete by default code, and we have to go to input, because now we are going to acquire some sensor data over here. We are going to take some input. For taking input, we have to go to input, and over there we have to do read digital pin. But the digital pin we have to use it for reading signal over here in a very simple way. So let's see it how we can read that digital signal. So I'm going to select that pin number. Pin number is 5 over here in the Arduino. And after that you can see it that we are reading it on 5 number pin. So after reading value over here, so what we have to do it, we have to print it on the serial monitor. So how we can print it? So for that we have to go to output. In output we have to click on serial print over here, this one, and we have to drag it and we have to drop it. So now whatever value we are reading it, we are going to print it on the serial monitor. So this one is my serial monitor over here. I'm going to start simulation. So as I'm going to start simulations, you can see it will work over here, that output is coming 0. So now let me see my sensor. So there is no object in front of my sensor. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my object. Object is there, but there is no motion. So I'm going to bring it over here. So now you can see, is this object, there is some motion. This one is saying value 1. Again value is 0. And again what I'm going to do, I'm going to move my object. Value is 1. Now 0, 1 value. Again after some time, it will get 0. When we are reading value from the digital pin, mean we are doing digital read over here and we are using one sensor, that is PIR sensor. So there are many applications of PIR sensor in your day-to-day life that you can find it. So when you are going to enter in a restaurant or a hotel, over there you are finding automatic door. So on that automatic door, this one PIR sensor is being used over there for detection of any persons and opening of that door. So again you can see it, how it is working, that you can see it over here in a very simple way. Now what we are going to do it, we are going to use it for we are going to use some condition for giving output, because we are reading the sensor and after that we are going to give some output. So for that, what we can use over here, we can use that output. For that output we are going to use some conditions. So go to control. In a control you will find some condition over here, like if and else conditions, whatever you want to do according to this sensor. So I'm going to use if condition over here, if and else. So how you can use these conditions? So in this condition, you have to use this condition on a 5-number pin or that sensor value. So you can duplicate it by right clicking and you can insert it over here anywhere, but it is not fitting. So for that, what we have to do it, go to math. So you have to go to math over here and select that second block, that is less than equal to. So this one block we have taken it, and after that you can insert your block over here easily. So these 3 blocks I have added it. One is if and else, second is that comparison block, and third one is digital read. So you are going to set value over equal. If sensor value, whatever value you are reading on 5-number pin, that is equal to 1. So what output you want to get? Your output you want over here, that is that output should be high. So you can go to output. So you can make high, any pin output you can give it. So I'm going to select any 11-number pin. So 11-number pin to be high and else 11-number pin should be low. So that we are going to do it over here. So what we can connect on 11-number pin? So I'm going to connect on 11-number pin any LED, so that you can see that how you can turn on any light. So I'm going to connect it with the ground and 11-number pin. You can use the resistance also over here, but I'm using it directly right now for showing you that how you can use it. You can start simulation. So simulation has been started. So there is no output over here in this LED. So as you can see, as you are going to bring your object in front of this sensor, your light will be get on, and your light will be on for some time interval if you want. So still the sensor is on, so it's giving output high. Otherwise, as sensor is going low, output is 0. 0 mean your LED is low. So you can make your light automatic on also according to your motion. So this one is a human being over here. So as there is motions, you are going to get output over here in a very simple way. That is one application of that PIR sensor you can use with the microcontroller easily, and you can write code. So when we talk about embedded C code, so the code is very simple over here, and you are printing on the serial monitor also. That also you can check it out when you are going to do any motion. You will able to see at the serial monitor also. You can see by default one is coming over here. As any person is coming in front of sensor, by default there will be 0. If there is no persons, the serial monitor value will be 0. So serial monitor is being used for displaying the value from this microcontroller if you are reading from the sensor. So that sensor value you can display over there in a very simple manner, and you can use it. So if you talk about embedded C code, so how you can generate it? So you can stop simulation, click on blocks and blocks plus text. So this one is your embedded C code over here. So this code over here, that is embedded C code. You have made your graphical code. So embedded C code is generated automatically over here, that you can use it for your applications. So that easily you can use it for your applications. I mean, you can deploy that code in your hardware, and you can deploy your project in a hardware easily, and you can make your system or your machines automatic, or your home automation also you can do it. So you can mount this PIR sensor in your kitchen also. You can mount this PIR sensor in your washroom or in your bathroom, and many places in balcony also you can use it, and in your stair also you can use it, and you can make your home light automatic easily, and you can make them on and off according to your motions, so that you can make it easily. So now a few more applications we are going to discuss over here. So this one I'm going to save it with a PIR. It got saved. So going back. So many more interesting thing you can make it over here. So I'm going to share with you a few interesting thing, that how you can make this interesting thing over here in a very simple way. So let's see it. So if you want to fight COVID-19, that also you can make many application of that COVID-19 over here to fight it. So let me share with you a few application over here to fight COVID-19. So that you can see, this one is an automatic sanitizer dispenser. That also you can make it easily. So this one got opened over here, that you can see it. This one is a servo motor. So this one is working for dispensing that sanitizer, and this one is a ultrasonic sensor for detecting distance. So how you can detect any object distance easily. And I mean, if you're going to bring your hand closer to it, so this will dispense that, this will press this plunger, motor will rotate, and the plunger will dispense that sanitizer. So let's see how it is working. So let it get starting. So it's taking time. I'm going to refresh it again. So everything we are doing on a cloud. So that is very much important part over here to understand it, that everything we are doing on the cloud. So let it get open. Wait for a second. So I think my internet is little bit slow. So be with me. It's refreshing. So you just need only internet connection, nothing else, and after that you will able to make your circuit over there in the Tinkercad easily. So it is opening. Wait for a second. So it's taking time. I'm going back over here. So go back to Tinkercad. Let it get open. Okay, let me go to home. So over here, few more project I'm going to share with you. Like if you are going to make automatic sanitizer dispenser, or there are many more project also that you can make it easily over here in a very simple way. Let's see. So this one is auto social distancing gadget. So let me open that social distancing gadget. So over there you will be able to make a social distancing gadget easily. So let's see it over here. Yes, this one is your object. Then ultrasonic sensor and buzzer. If mean you are going to maintain social distance, that you can maintain it using this sensor and this buzzer. So let's start simulations and let's see how it is working. Yes, now it is working. So as anyone is going to break your social distance, your buzzer will be get on. So I'm going to, this one is a person's. So any person is going to break social distance over here, that you can see it. So, so as a person is going to break your social distance, buzzer will be on. Yes. So that is social distancing gadget that also you can make it over here easily. And after that, there are many more projects you can make it. You can write code in a graphical way over here in a very simple way for this social gadget. So that is very easy code. Only 4 to 5 line is written over here and you can make it. So now I'm going to show a few more interesting projects over here that you can make it in a very easy way using all the sensor interfacing that we are going to taught you. So today we are going to discuss all about sensor interfacing. Tomorrow we are going to talk about cloud, that how you can send data on a cloud and how you can get notification from your to your mobile phone from the cloud if any sensor is going to cross that threshold limit. So let me share with you one more most interesting project over here, that is piano. So that you can make your piano over here in a very easy way. Let's see it how we can make a piano. So let it get open. So after opening it, you will able to run this piano. So you can write code in embedded C also over here. So now what I'm going to do, this one is the piano, 7 button is there, and you can play any song. If you are having a little bit understanding with the music, you can play song over here. So I'm going to play Sargam over here, Sare Gama Pa Dhani Sa, in a very simple way. For that we have to start simulations, and after that we will able to play Sargam. So let's play it. Sa, this one is Re, this one is Ga, Ma, Pa, Ga. So Sa, Re, So due to slow internet, there is some fluctuation, but it is working fine. And you can play any song with the help of these buttons, so that you can play it over here in easily. So that piano also you can make it over there in a very simple way. You can see it over here. So that piano coding also you can do in a graphical also or in embedded C also. So now I'm going to share with you few more interesting projects that you can make it. Yes. If you want to interface LCD, that also you can make it. Like if you want to make any complex project like LCD interface, and after that you want to give some output. So multiple thing if you want to interface over here, that also you can do it in a very simple way. Let's see it how you can interface LCD also over here, and how you can write code in a very simple way. So LCD interface, keypad interface, so many things simultaneously also you can interface it over here with your microcontroller, and you can write code. So that you can see it, I'm going to start simulation. So LCD is being at interface, potentiometer is being used, buzzer is also used over here, and as I'm going to rotate this, so let me check it out. So this one is potentiometer for increasing that speed and all that. Then if you are going to take any input, analog input, that also you can display over here. But let me refresh it again. Let me start it again. LCD is working, but that running is very slow over here in the software due to multiple component over here. So there is no value is not coming right now. So you can interface LCD also over here. That is my motto to show you over here, that you can interface LCD, you can interface your keypad also, and if any value you want to print it over here, that also you can print it. So whatever value, yes, you can see it, that the value is coming keypad 7. So as I'm going to press any button over here, you will able to see some values coming over there at the LCD. You will able to check it. So that is little bit slow. So you can rotate that potentiometer, and you will get value accordingly over here. So I'm going to back over here. Now these things you can interface it easily over here in this tool in the platform. So now you can play that different tone also over here. Now I'm going to talk about analog read. So if you want to read any kind of analog sensor, so how you can read it, that is very interesting over here. So I'm going to talk about analog read, and after that we are going to talk about analog write also over here in a very simple way, and how you can use it analog write also. So you can take your Arduino, and you can interface any analog sensor with this Arduino, and you can write code for this. So I'm going to take potentiometer over here. When potentiometer is working as a voltage divider, or you are going to get variable output voltage. So I'm going to connect potentiometer with the ground. Third wire we have to connect with a 5 volt, and middle wire we have to connect with a signal in analog pin. So that is output. You can use multimeter also over here for checking output voltage of this potentiometer. Before connecting with the output, I'm going to connect this output with multimeter to cross verify it, that what output this one is giving. So that ground we have connected with the ground. So that color coding also you can do it over here, black. This one also you can make it black. This one is red. This one is signal wire yellow. So yellow, orange. So now I have not given any input of that potentiometer to the microcontroller. I'm just using this microcontroller as a power source, and I'm going to check my potentiometer. So now you can see it over here that output is 0. As I'm going to rotate potentiometer, output will change from 0 to 5 volt. That you can see it over here. So that 0 to 5 volt supply output, that variable output we have to give to this Arduino to A0 pin. So I'm going to connect one wire. Which one is A0 pin going to connect with that wiper wire, output wire. So that is, I'm going to make it orange. So that output we have connected with the Arduino also, and we are going to write code over here for analog read. For that we have to go to input, and we have to take second block, read analog pin. So in an analog pin we have to use A0, and we have to print on the output serial monitor. Yes, that's all. Only 2-line code we have to use it. Now I'm going to start simulations. As we are going to start simulations, you can see at the serial monitor value is coming 1023. So that is very important part. So that question I'm going to pose to you, that why, because we are providing 0 to 5 volt over here. So we are going to provide 0 to 5 volt over here. So why that value is coming from 0 to 1023 over here? So that you have to search it out, and in tomorrow's session I will discuss with you that why this value is coming 1023, because we are supplying that is 0 to 5 volt over here, but output is coming over here, that is 1023, that you can see it. So we are going to tell you tomorrow. So before that you have to work it out, that why this one is coming 1023, and according to that we can read any signal, and again we can convert it in a 5 volt also. So for that we have to use some math formula over here for converting it again in a 5 volt in a serial monitor, so that also we can use it. So now I'm coming to the question answer. So if you are having any kind of queries, any kind of doubt that you can ask, you can type in the chat box, or you can mute your mic if you are able to do it. That also you can do it.
Hello.
So, yes,
Hello.
madam.
Yes, sir. I'm Kiran Walia. Sir, actually, I want to ask that can we simulate on Tinkercad Raspberry Pi?
No, we cannot simulate Raspberry Pi over there. Only embedded system kind of thing, like without any kind of wireless communications, we can simulate over here everything. Like we can interface only microcontroller, and one more microcontroller over there is also, that is 1885. That is very small microcontroller that we can simulate over here. But Raspberry Pi cannot be simulated over here.
Sir, can you suggest any other platform on which we can simulate Raspberry
No,
Pi?
I got your question. So there is no platform in my knowledge with the help of that we can simulate Raspberry Pi, but we can use that Raspberry Pi input somewhere in some application. Like if we are going to perform some IoT applications, but without hardware, we want to send data over there. So what we can do, we can send over there virtual packet data, and for that we can use Node-RED. With the help of that Node-RED, we can send data without hardware. So that Raspberry Pi data we can send over there in a cloud without Raspberry Pi. But in exactly when we talk about simulating all the pins and all the functionality, that we cannot do, because Raspberry Pi is working as a computer. So you cannot make a same computer, and you cannot simulate it easily, so that you cannot do it over here.
So, sir, if we use the Node-RED type of board or something else, so can you tell me what is Node-RED? It's a platform.
Yes, that is a platform, that is a programming language that is being developed by IBM. So that is graphical programming that we are doing it over here in the Tinkercad. That is also similar to that. So that I will let you know in upcoming session, that how you can use that Node-RED also, and how you can create your virtual packet without having any hardware, how you can perform IoT applications. So that also I will let you know.
Thank you, sir. So one more question. You told us that in Tinkercad we are using cloud also. So which cloud we are using actually here?
In a Tinkercad, we are not using any specific cloud, but in a Tinkercad, they are using their own cloud. Mean we are not going to download that software that is working on a cloud. So they are using their own cloud. So Tinkercad is developed by one of the company that is Autodesk company. So Autodesk company is using their own cloud, but we are doing on a simulation on a cloud that is their own cloud. So it's not specific cloud that we are using it for our own IoT application. We are just doing over there circuit simulation, and that software is being developed and deployed on the cloud, and there is own cloud they are using it. The company that they have developed it, that is Autodesk, and they are using their own cloud over there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So if any participant having any, yes, some participant is asking that and the dark factory synonym something like that. Let me check it out. No, we cannot simulate ESP32 also. Only we can simulate over here the device which is not wireless. Mean that device is not able to communicate wirelessly. Mean that microcontroller you can simulate it over here. That is only Arduino Uno. And when we talk about ESP32 and Node MCU and any other Wi-Fi modules, so that we cannot simulate over here. So we can simulate over here only the circuit part. Mean if you want to acquire sensor data, that you can acquire it over here, you can understand it over here. Then after that, if you want to send the data on a cloud, then you can use that hardware something. Or if you want to send data on a cloud without hardware, then you have to use some platform like that I told you, Node-RED, that you can use it, and with the help of that you can send your dummy data on a cloud. Yes, we cannot get code in a Scratch. So in a Scratch we cannot get text code, but in a Tinkercad we can get the text coding. So in a Tinkercad we can get 100% that text coding. So whatever code we are doing it in a graphical way, that code we can generate it on a text format also in the Tinkercad. Yes. So you can type your queries in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can ask your queries. Yes. So some participant is asking that they are willing to add a few more sensor over there in the Tinkercad. You cannot add over there. So whatever sensors available over there, that only you can use it. But as per my information, 90% sensors you can make it over there. Mean you can use all the sensor, and with the help of that 90% work is being done over there. So if any sensor you want to make it over there, any sensor you want to interface it over there, there similar sensor you will find it. It's not like that if you want a that specific number of that model, but similar kind of sensor you will find over there. Like if you are going to use a transistor, so it's not only that specific number transistor you will find, but standard transistor you will find over there. That is for just learning purpose for the beginning, and that is a wonderful tool. You will able to enjoy it over there. So for a piano project, how to get exact sound, that I will let you know tomorrow. For that we have to set up some frequency. So different frequency we have to set it, and that frequency we have to send to that buzzer, and we are going to get exact sound of sargam, saregama, padhani, sa. Yes. So yes, if any participant having any other doubt, they can ask over here. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed it. So this one is the introductory session. Kindly do some practice also on the Tinkercad. You can try it on your mobile phone also, but you will face little bit difficulty in a mobile phone while using it, because over there you have to drag and drop components. So that difficulty little bit you will face it over there, and but you will able to do it. So how to edit library function in the Arduino, that I will let you know tomorrow. That how you can edit library in a particular Arduino and in a program, and how you can include that library. Everything we are going to do it in tomorrow's session. That how you can include library, how you can remove library, how you want to edit it. So that also you can ask me tomorrow, and then I will let you know.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Sir, it was really interesting and you made all participants active even at the afternoon session, sir. It was really good. And tomorrow also they will be eagerly waiting for your session to listen, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was
Okay, ma'am.
really
Thank you so
informative,
much.
sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. So tomorrow by 9:30 we will join again, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. So participants, if you have no more doubts, we'll wind up. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So thank you all. Tomorrow we will join the session by 9:30. So please join 10 minutes before the session. We will start it by 9:30 exactly. So thank you for your cooperation today. So we will expect the same cooperation throughout all 5 days. So thank you all. So kindly fill the feedback form and it will be taken as an attendance. So thank you once again.
Okay, Durga, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And Durga, Kannan, and Dinesh, Muthu Bharati. Okay, so today is went well. So thank you all participants. So we'll meet tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.